Okay, so we've moved over to the drill press, and one of the things that I've found is incredibly helpful when you're drilling out these plastic blanks. It doesn't matter if they're urethane or acrylester or West epoxy, whatever it is. They're prone more than the wood blanks to blow out as the drill comes out the bottom. I have found these acrylic bits, which have the conical ends on them, to be incredibly helpful in reducing that, as opposed to your traditional bits that have a more of a cutting piece here at the end. So these bits tend to cut around the outside here, and they just create havoc with the blanks, whereas the conical ones, they drill out more in the middle. So I've got this set up. I've got my pen press on my drilling jig here. I'm going to bring the blank all the way up to the drill bit here. Sorry, I'm having to work around my tripod here. It's not the best of situations. And line it up. Now, I have already taken the time to center this drill holder thing. I forgot what it's called. With my drill press here, so that I know I'm going through center. I'm lucky. My drill press has a laser finder. I don't know if you can see it there in the light. That kind of helps me find that center. Once I have this locked in, I really don't need to change it that often. Now what I'm going to do is you're going to see me going in and out, in and out, in and out. I'm going to do lots of plunges, little cuts, light pressure. I don't want to spend a lot of time doing this, because as I'm doing this, regardless of how much I move the bit in and out, it is going to generate heat, and I think heat is a huge component in these things failing. But I don't want to go so fast that I put pressure on the blank and crack it. So it's kind of like you just have to do this a lot, and over time you'll get a feel for how this goes. So let's drill a hole. Alright, so one of the things I always try to do is get the shavings out as much as I can. As those build up on the inside of the blank, they will start to melt, and that melting process can seize up the drill bit and cause all kinds of heartache for you. But you see we got a nice hole there, and we came out with very little to no damage on the end here, and that is the outcome you want. Obviously you don't want this whole thing separating. Alright, so now I'm going to load up the longer blank here. This is going to make for the lower part of the pen, and we're going to follow the exact same process. Okay, now what tends to happen to me, my drill press doesn't go very far up and down here, and a lot of these blanks are longer than the distance that this will travel. So what I do is I'll loosen up my vise just enough to start to slide the blank a little bit up, and now I'll finish it out. Now I'm through this most of the way, so I'm not really worried about having to move it up and down. I'm just going to do the finishing churn right here, or the finishing drilling. And as you can see, it took almost no travel to finish this out. And we're going to take a look at the bottom, and we did have a little bit of a break off here. So now what's important to note, now in the beginning of this video when I trimmed this, we talked about making sure you trim it with a little excess. This is one of the things that can happen where that excess will become beneficial. So now I'm going to take this tube and I'm going to drop it in, and you notice that my tube is shallow from that break. So all these things in my shop that start automatically. Turned my heater off thinking I was going to get ahead of that. Forgot to turn off the air compressor and caught me at the last thing. So anyways, as you can tell, I've cut this blank long enough that even with this little bit of chip out here, once I glue this tube in and I sand it, none of this will be here and we won't have a problem. You'll see I'm still, even with that, this tube's all over the place here. Even with the tube flush down here, there's a tremendous amount of space. So we're all good to go. So I'm going to move this over to my other workbench and we're going to glue these tubes in.